So I'm here today at Autotech Recruit with Gavin, who's just moved into their new premises in Milton Keynes. And he's listening to us to see if he'll become a race partner, which hopefully we can do so. So, Gav, I've seen what your company does, and my job, which you know actually kind of works in the same realms as well.
Yeah.
And I think I can bring some things to the company and help you along with your company, and hopefully vice versa you'll do what we do. So, from what I understand, you're an agency, recruitment agency for the motor industry, for techs.
Yeah. So we, about 10 years ago, I was an ex-service manager, and for Bedford Suzuki dealership, we also had Cambridge and Melton Mowbray, and we always have massive issues with like workshop loading capacity, productivity, all them sorts of things. It was really hard to find really good vehicle technicians. And they were sort of becoming a bit of a dying breed. And
so you were looking for the quality?
Yeah, the quality. But there was also, when you're running a workshop, it's very tough because you've got holidays, training, sickness, and it always compounds at the wrong time because you've got 10 MOTs booked in one day, and your only MOT tester decides to call in sick, and you've got 10 disgruntled customers.
And you've got cars.
Yeah.
You haven't got much space. And
Exactly. Yeah, and you've got to start subbing your work out to a competitor MOT station down the road. And I thought there must be so I sat there one day and I thought there must be an agency out there that could supply me a vehicle technician or an MOT tester for a day, a couple of weeks, a couple of months. And there wasn't, it didn't really exist. There was a few people that kind of dabbled in it, but not as niche and specific.
The website, I've looked at it, and I don't know if you spend a huge amount of time on doing it, but it's so simple to get round, to get information you can pull it instantly just by looking straight away. So.
Yeah, I mean we do spend a lot of money and a lot of time on it purely for that reason, is to make it simple.
Yeah,
because
I'm not surprised because it is very good.
Yeah, I mean our marketing budget probably this year is about £400,000 this year, and a large proportion of that will go on to web development, SEO, all them sorts of things to really just make life easier for the end user, whether that's a garage trying to hire someone, or whether that's a contractor, or someone who doesn't want to go contracting but just wants to have a change of job and look for the next perm job. Yeah,
because I mean that's what I was noticing on there. It caters for everyone. It's almost like you tell me this. It's some of the people that are on it, or how you're catering for, is a lifestyle thing.
Yeah, so absolutely. And that's when we started this 10 years ago. The vast majority of the guys that we started this really in probably the worst global recession that anyone had ever seen between sort of 2008 2010.
Yeah, it was tough.
So
especially for the motor industry.
Yeah. So there was a lot of master techs, very highly skilled vehicle technicians that were basically being put out to pasture and being made redundant. So we just happened to start a business really at the right time. It was more luck than judgment. And we were very lucky to hoover up some very good guys that were very skilled, but they were probably it was the right time for them as well, because some of these guys were probably mid-50s, the mortgage was paid off, the kids had flown the nest, they didn't need to work 6 days a week for back then 23 grand a year, and if they had a couple of hobbies, they wanted to go fishing, or they were into motorsport, or some of them may have owned property abroad, they could work for us for like 3 months solidly, earn some money, then they could go off, do what they want to do for a bit, and then come back. So
what would they do? Well, so if they came back from holiday, would they have to go straight back onto the website to look for a job, or is it an automated way of contacting?
No, they speak to the consultants. So we have regional consultants that look after a certain geographical area that they build a rapport with.
Yeah.
And basically, them consultants just give them their workload every day, week, however it is. So we speak to our contractors and we say, well, what's your diary look like for the next 2 or 3 months? We're planning that far ahead, and they'll come back and say, well, yeah, I can work for the next 6 weeks, but then I'm having 2 weeks off, or then I've got a doctor's appointment, or whatever it is. If you're prepared to travel and kind of chase the money.
But you've always got demand, haven't you?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, certainly over the last few years, we've had periods, probably back in the summer last year, if I had 80 more vehicle technicians dropped off at our doorstep last year, I could have got them out working the next day, literally the next day. We had that much demand, it was ridiculous. So,
I think that the point is now that well, the question I was going to ask you is how big is your office? And I'm actually here and walk around your brand new office.
Yeah.
You're running 2 offices at the same time at the moment as you move in. So that speaks volumes in itself. And that is the basis of, you saying that you have specific people in those areas. And the relationship you have with them it's the same in your business, really, relationships and how they work. I mean, this is what the question I was going to say, which areas do you cover? Is it the whole of the UK?
Yeah, it's everywhere. It's all the way from Plymouth all the way up to Inverness in Scotland.
And you have how many staff to cover all those?
So it's about 30 staff we have at Milton Keynes. Marketing, recruitment consultants, finance, that sort of stuff.
That's a lot
to manage. But then we've probably got a network of about 600 vehicle technicians and MOT testers around the UK. Now they're not working for us every day, day in, day out. I wish they were, because we'd probably be getting a bigger office than we've got now. But the probably in our peak, we're in the summer months when we're impacted by school holidays and garages really affected by that. We're probably somewhere between 350 to 400 guys out every week. So, and that's quite a big operation, because some of these guys literally could be working in a different garage every other day. Some of them could be on contracts that are 2 or 3 months. Yeah. So, logistically, to organise all the workflow and the planning, to get these guys to go to where they need to go to, basically we manage everything from a client perspective to the contractor perspective. The contractor basically just turns up with a selected amount of tools in the back of his car. And he'll jump out and he'll carry out sort of basic servicing, repair work at dealership, independent garages, national chains, or they'll carry out MOT testing.
So from what I've seen as well is the rates of pay they get is very favourable. So would you say that it even could work for someone who could travel somewhere and actually stay in bed and breakfast for a week?
Yeah. We've got loads of guys that have got their own VW transporters, camper vans, and they love it in the summer. I mean, if they're single guys and they're not married and haven't got any ties, might still be living at home with mum and dad, and they want to earn some money to get the next house or save up or whatever. Who wouldn't want to go and work in Cornwall for 3 months?
Yeah, see different parts of the country.
Yeah, and certainly, we've got a lot of guys that are massively into things like mountain biking and surfing or hiking and climbing, and so they go and work in the day and then they'll jump on their mountain bike in the evening and go off around, Swinley Forest or something.
And whilst the employer as well is that if you're on a short-term contract, if they're having obligations as like a full-time person will have as well. So it's beneficial as well to the employer as well, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, as a professional agency, and any professional agency out there should do this, is about indemnifying the end client. Certainly with a lot of the legislation or change you're going through with HMRC at the moment with IR35, working practices, SDC, all the AWR, all these different regulations that HMRC keep bringing out to basically increase their coffers. But the reality is, it is a choice. It's a lifestyle. It's a choice. And I'll go back to the point. Contracting isn't for everyone. You've got to be of the mindset that you are, you're confident about going into a garage and meeting different people every day and being confident to be able to do that, because it is tough. It's testing, and if you're sort of quite a withdrawn, shy type character, it probably isn't the life for you. But certainly from a client perspective point of view, the whole point of it is you just turn on your workforce like you would a tap. It's just like I need 3 extra bodies for the next 3 months because I've got PDIs coming out my ears, I've got a warranty recall coming out my ears, I've got X, Y, and Z. I've got used car stock that's well over its stock days. And I need to get it on the forecourt because the sales team are moaning at me.
I mean, you say that. You say that it's not for the shy person. Now, I started off running a business when I was 17, 18 years old, and I was going to different places the whole time, and I was shy. I'm not so shy anymore. So it can be those people out the shout. And what I would say from my point of view is that when you go to different places, you see different walls, you see different people all the time. You never get bored of what you're doing.
No, and that's if you speak to a lot of our contractors, that's why they love it, because they're not statically staring at the same
Yeah,
paint
I
on
can
the wall every
definitely
day.
relate, yeah.
And the thing is, they're broadening their knowledge so much because they're getting to work on so many different brands of vehicles.
Yeah.
A lot of my technicians at Suzuki, we used to service and work on other vehicles, but 70-80% of dealerships are generally servicing their own make. So if you start soon getting thrust into going and working in a Halfords or a National Tyres or an independent garage, and naturally your knowledge base is going to increase overnight because you're working on so many different brands with so many different components.
It makes it more valuable.
Yeah, of course.
And also what I noticed on the website as well is that you don't just stop at trying to find an employee, because you've got your training on there as well.
Yeah.
You've got training, which I think is awesome, because that's what you just said now, is that you actually gain more knowledge and bettering yourself, and you can do the training as well.
Yeah, that's part of why we've moved to this new office. So the new office has probably got about, out of the 5,500 square foot we've got here, nearly 1,000 square foot of it is going to be dedicated to a training suite. There's a lot of regulation change around MOT testers now having to do CPD and annual assessments. So, we've got 200 or 300 MOT testers that work for us, so we have a duty of care to make sure those guys are qualified and are competent out in the field. So we do a lot of that for them. We do a lot of stuff for our own clients. But it's about giving access. I go to a lot of conferences, I do a lot of talks with a lot of people, and one of the things I do talk about is a lack of apprenticeships and a lack of training. We surveyed 11,500 technicians now, probably the back end of 2018. So over 70% of them said the reason they left their current job, was over broken promises around training.
Really?
So if I pose the same question to an employer, they'd probably turn around and say, the reason he left his job because they wanted 50p an hour more. Actually, our data shows that most people, it's about their thirst for knowledge. And generally in this industry, the industry as a whole, probably over the last 30 decades, has not invested in upskilling its workforce. We've got an ageing workforce in the industry. Technology is moving at such a rapid pace now. You're training you guys one day and, within a week something else has come out. So it's completely different to how it used to be in the good old days, if you like, in the car industry.
And I also think the way that things are now, the way that when I used to work in dealers, or dealerships, there used to be so many employees there, and everything seems to be centred on saving money. Saving money within the business itself, and cutting down on staff. And that's their streamlining. It's not looking at how
it's the long-term view.
Exactly. So that's what you do. So I've told you roughly what we want to do. So if we were to become partners, can you tell me exactly what would work for you? How I could benefit you? I assume getting technicians and.
I think for us it's that's one of the biggest things that we spend a huge amount of our time with is networking. That's how you we could quite easily go and spend, as we do and have done in the past, you spend thousands of pounds in advertising, print media, magazines. You've got to look at touching every single possibility to understand, does it work? I'm a believer in you can try it, you ain't going to know unless you try it, and given I know how long you've been in the industry, and given your contacts, it's for us it's a bit of a no-brainer really, because value to us, for the long-term relationships, even if we were to build a relationship with one of your clients, and we were to have that relationship for years to come, then it's money well spent in our eyes. And the other thing for your son is, obviously it gives him I've seen some of the video footage of him, and he's clearly very talented, and at the end of the day, if it helps him get to where he needs to in life, then happy days. That's what it's about.
Everyone, and one of the ideas that I wanted to do is, once we got a few on board, actually you go karting.
And
you can race my son. And then we can all talk to the full stop, and it's the amount of money we're talking about.
Make sure I've got a bigger engine. I'm going to need it.
We'll just to carry my
extra
bags. But no, the point. That's my point. Is the amount of money that we're asking from some companies is that in reality, if you were to run a magazine article, it'll cost you more, and you're not going to reach as many people, and it's not going to get the impact which I'm going to hopefully create for you. did you have something in mind that you could actually offer us, or if we could achieve what you could offer us?
Yeah, I mean, I think the one thing we've, the amount of money that you're looking at, I think there's two things to it. Yeah, we could offer you some money towards that. That isn't an issue. But naturally, there's other clients of ours that we work with in the industry as well, in terms of bigger automotive brands, parts manufacturers, tyre manufacturers, them sorts of things. So connectively, you're networking for us, but equally I can network for you. So, if we can raise funds, either just through our own donation, if you like, to you, but I think there'd probably be some other people within my network that might be interested in getting involved as well.